stand for the pledge of allegiance, if you're able, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on the agenda is public comment. Does anybody have anything that they want to say regarding policies and procedures or financial areas that have to do with the housing authority? If not, we'll go on to our first vote, which is to accept the minutes of the September 9th, 2014 board meeting. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to accept September 9th reorganization meeting.
Second motion. Any discussion? Yes.
Yeah, these minutes, I've talked about this before, these minutes don't really tell us anything. I think it simply tells us who voted and how. And I really think that we've talked about this in the past, when the prior chairman was here and she used to do the minutes because I didn't like the minutes, because simply taking a vote, a motion, a second, and a vote is not sufficient for the minutes. And we don't have any discussion about why we came to form a subcommittee to look into additional opportunities for housing, nor do we have a discussion, nor do we have any explanation about the check register versus warrant issues. And I just think that it needs, I'm not saying we need to have a half-hour dissertation with 25 pages, but these minutes, they don't reflect that. They simply have a motion, a second, and a vote, and that's it.
Well, I can remember when there was a meeting with another board that I was on with an attorney, it was a town attorney, and he said that the minutes are only supposed to be a synopsis of what happened at a meeting. It does not have to be a verbatim meeting. And I don't have any problems with the minutes. I don't know about the rest of the board.
I have no problem with it. I was here and all that was discussed. Anything special was put out on a separate sheet that we can discuss.
Yes.
I would just say to that we are not always going to be the members of the Housing Authority, and when somebody 25 years from now looks at the minutes, they're not going to have a clue what happened at these meetings. I'm just saying. You're entitled to your opinion, but I'm just saying that they're not sufficient.
They will, because anything that's referenced in the minutes, we have copies of in the office. So if they question anything, they can come to the office and get the minutes, get what happened at that meeting and what the paperwork to back it up.
Plus the minutes are the meetings are recording now.
They're televised.
Recorded is not proof of what happened at the meetings. But you're entitled to your, I'm just saying, these are not sufficient minutes. I'm just saying. A vote in a second and a recording of who voted is not sufficient.
Wayne.
I got on vote 8 to create a subcommittee to look into additional housing. Is that significant enough, or do you want more?
No, I want a paragraph about why. It's not enough. It doesn't tell you anything. These minutes tell you nothing.
And this is not the first time that the board has been looking for housing, for additional housing.
I understand that. And I'm just stating how I feel. You can all vote in favor of it if you wish. It's entirely up to you. Just saying.
Yes, it is.
Does anybody want to make a motion to leave them the way they are, or to change them, or whatever the motion is? Yeah.
There's a motion and a second on the floor, Madam Chairman. I would think that you should stop the vote. There's a second, a
This
motion.
was, we also received a reorganizational meeting on September 9th. All of these things were covered there. Who made motions, who seconded, etc.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve or disapprove the minutes.
As is?
And did you just make a motion to change?
No, I simply said you already have a
Okay.
motion and a second
Right.
to approve them.
Yes, we do.
Right.
But I didn't know whether you wanted to make a motion, another motion,
You
before
can't
we
do that.
vote on
I
this.
can't do that.
All right. All right, all in favor of accepting the minutes the way they're written? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries. Yes?
I voted in favor of it this time, and I think if we could get a little bit more explanation, would be better for the committee and the public and everybody else. I'm not saying make it an expensive thing, but if we can just narrow it down a little bit more. And that's only discussion, is not a vote.
Okay. Discussion and vote on the bullying policy.
Was that what was handed out today?
Yes, it was.
We're going to have discussion about bullying
I was going to say, I'm not
today. We have had some experiences with bullying. Went to a conference on it where they discussed how the elderly do bully other people. And they feel that just because they're old, they have the right to say and do whatever they want. And they don't. They bully other elderly people, they bully the staff here, and it's gone on too long. We can't even go out in the public without having instances occur. Denise, would you like to?
Sure.
Would you please state your name, please?
Yes, let me stand up to it, please. Denise Brotherton, Community Liaison. Very concerned with a couple of instances. One of my goals when I was accepted for this job as Community Liaison, I was hoping to bring the residents closer in the community. One of the complaints that I've heard from housing residents was that they never felt welcomed over at the senior center, and I believe this has been an ongoing issue from my understanding. I gotta be honest with you, as a board, I went over there one day to meet the new board of directors, and I was approached by a senior citizen over there, literally with her finger in my chest, coming after me, indicating that it has been stated by numerous people that I should not be receiving a paycheck for this job. I have heard it from bus drivers, I have heard it from staff, I have heard it from residents out in town.
Let her finish first, and then I will call.
It's been very disheartening. I have lost sleep over it. It has been brought to my attention that Ian has stated numerous times that I shouldn't be getting paid, that I don't need the money and I shouldn't be getting paid.
Oh, my.
That was not this Ann. I know which Ann it was.
No, that was you,
It was
Ian.
not me. It was not.
I have witnesses,
Point of order.
Ian.
I think-
Point of order, one person speaks at a time. We're going to listen to what she has to say,
But
and then
that's
the
why,
board, and
that's
then
what
the board.
I'm disputing, is answering. She's naming people and talking about the senior center in the wrong manner, and that should be done through the director, not through this board at a meeting. If she's got personal issues, that's fine, let her deal with the director,
If
not with
this was
this
done in
board.
public, why would
And
it be inappropriate?
It's here because it was done when she was acting as an employee of the house.
Yes.
Well,
She
you
was
you have
there
your
for-
opinion, but I
She
disagree
was
with
there on Housing Authority
pinpointing people
time,
out.
and you were
And the
named
way it was
as
said.
the source.
Yes.
The person that said it specifically said you. And I was
Why am
there
I being
to
attacked
hear
in a
it.
public board meeting?
That's
I
what
did
I'm
not
saying.
say anything. I know who did, and it was not me. And I don't think it's appropriate for you to allow this to continue, Madam Chairman, when you don't allow the residents to say anything.
I do allow the residents to
You
say.
do not.
Yes, I do.
You
The
do not. I'm
residents-
going to leave if this is going to continue. I am not going to be sitting here as a volunteer member and be attacked for something that I did not say. I know who did, and plenty of people have. I did not say it, and if you choose to have a discussion, that's fine, but I'm not gonna sit here and allow this to continue.
The point I'm trying to make, Ian, is that people are out there saying things behind people's back.
But it's
I-
not this Ann, it's someone else.
I have been told Ian Weston
That's fine.
by good friends of yours, by workers up there, by bus drivers, van drivers. What I'm trying to say is I think we all need to take a look at how hurtful some comments can be. I went from 4 paychecks down to one Ian, okay?
Excuse me, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna sit here and
that's
listen to
enough's
this.
enough.
I'm not gonna sit here and listen to this.
Another instance was yesterday when a resident, our own resident, came to the board of directors in such a manner speaking to her. I would have gotten slapped across the face. And I did not know what to say, and it was witnessed by a firefighter, another resident, and it was downright degrading. And I think somehow, collectively, if we all stop and think before we say anything, are we being offensive? The same thing goes with telling a joke. Could this joke offend somebody? It's been an awful experience, and I feel very bad for the residents, and you think with immaturity that as you grow, it gets better. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And I've witnessed it at both places. It's not just, you witness it all the time. In nursing homes was a huge problem. I'm bringing, as the community liaison, I would like to build the bridge, and I just need to let everyone know if we step back and think for a minute before we speak.
Right.
Thank you.
In my personal opinion, I said you can speak next, and you speak next, and then I'll say what
Well, first of all, I would think the liaison would think before she speaks. I would like to say that. I don't think that bringing out Ann Weston's name heard by somebody else saying it was her gives her the right to come to our meeting and blame Ann Weston for saying it without hearing from Ann Weston. She heard it from somebody else. People up at Senior Center do not agree with Mrs. Brotherton because of issues, and I'm not going to get into it because I can't do that. I'm going to be proper on this and just say there's issues with her, and that's their problem and their discussion. We're here for the people in the housing. We're not here with the problems with Mrs. Brotherton. And she brought up her own issues. This is not the place for that.
But you know what, Wayne?
But the thing is, they should be going through the director. And if, my opinion, if the liaison person can't handle this job, she should not handle it. That's my opinion. We need to work together. And what she did, it just create more problems. More problems at this meeting. There's a right way and there's a wrong way to handle this. I totally agree with that part of it. But that's it. And the way it was just done wasn't handled the way it should have been done, in my opinion.
Okay, we heard a volunteer, we witnessed a volunteer of the senior center actually threaten one of our residents. Came right out and said that she wanted to kill her. And she would before she died.
But why wasn't that handled with the senior center director? Or, wait a minute, let me finish. Or the director of the housing. That's where it goes to. And if we're gonna have a liaison person here gonna be using people's names and bringing up issues with her, that's not part of that position as far as I understand or believe in. Yeah, you're here to help, not create more of a problem.
But what we're trying to say
I know what you're trying to say, but
is
this.
we have a problem and we're trying to look for an appropriate way to address it.
And
So I
that's-
created a bullying policy. We went to a workshop. They told us that we cannot stand by and let this happen.
Let her finish, please.
No, no, no.
Okay, I'm
So
sorry.
we
Okay, fine.
have to come up with a policy, give examples of what we consider to be bullying, and address it. And if it continues, we have to report it, whether it to be the police department or the housing authority, but it has to be reported.
That's
Is
correct.
it done?
Yes.
I totally agree with you. We need a policy, but we don't need to attack people to make a policy. You don't understand what we need, you're the director. You bring a policy to us, we vote on it or not.
But part
It's
of
not
this-
here to abuse other employees to a bullying. I would call that a bullying problem.
But part of the
I understand your part, I
policy
agree.
was a discussion on what's going on and how people feel about what's going on. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I feel like I'm being bullied. I'm being bullied by the residents. I'm being bullied by the board, some board members. Some board members, if they have a problem with what I'm doing, they ask me. They call me on the phone, they ask me a question. I heard a complaint, what's this about? I don't understand this, what's this about? I'm questioning what you're doing, can you answer why you're doing what you're doing? Someone gives me the consideration prior to a public meeting and asks me those questions.
No, I don't have a problem with that, and I agree, because I asked
Other
them.
people don't wait. They wait until they get to a meeting, I feel like I'm being blindsided half the time, and it's like, you know what, that's not fair. I feel that it creates a hostile work environment for me to work in. I don't like being threatened by the residents. I'll go to HUD, or I'll go to DHCD. They have the right to go anywhere they want. They don't have the right to threaten me or the staff with it. Some of these
You don't like
people,
to threaten anyone.
some of these people are so bad, we have to have the Auburn police go with us to an apartment. How is that right? And how is it that that should be tolerated? It should not be tolerated. I've got the maintenance staff going out in twos. Because you know what? You just don't know. I don't want them get accused of something they didn't do. They do not go in an apartment without having the resident present or somebody that they trust enough that gave them permission to go in. That's ridiculous. That's not any way to do business. But that's how these people, that's how my staff feel, and that's how I feel. I'm tired of it. It's not right. We need to put a policy in effect, and we either have to push to get it to stop one way or the other.
I think this policy is very well written. Did you read it?
Yes, but I just want, the only thing I want to make perfectly clear is I am not against the policy. I'm against the way it was delivered.
And
By
maybe
the
we
community
could have handled
liaison,
it better.
it was totally out of line.
But you gotta understand,
No, I
Wayne,
understand exactly what you're saying. I agree with everything.
and when we were told.
And you have a problem, you have a problem. I understand
And we were
that.
told by the director
Yeah.
of the
I'm not yelling.
You are, but you don't realize it.
No, I'm not.
And you get excited when you're upset,
Okay. yeah.
okay?
But
But
I
no.
mean, the director of the senior center, the assistant director of the senior center, both were aware of this and did nothing. Did nothing of what happened up there. I mean, you have to feel welcome, you have to feel like you can go, and if you don't, why would I encourage my residents to go up there if I don't even feel comfortable going there? You turned around and they took you off the council on aging, so I can't even go to you now. I mean, I didn't think that that was the right way to go, to be perfectly honest with you, and I have no problem
I did.
saying it on television. Roberta was on that, she isn't on it any longer. It's like, I don't feel that we necessarily have a voice with the Council on Aging or the Senior Center, but yet we're trying to be partners, and it's very, very difficult. Very difficult. When you were there, I could call you and say, well, okay, you still serve on FAFSA, so if you have an issue about FAFSA, you'll call me up and ask me. But I feel like we've lost our voice on Council on Aging and with the Senior Center. And Denise and I, to be honest, have worked at getting a relationship with the new director so that my residents feel like they can go there. You know, I mean, As it is, it's hard for the Stoneville people that don't drive to get there.
Right.
And they're gonna have to pay the van to get on it. And then it's gonna be, when they get there isn't anything for them. You know what I mean? That seat's taken, and we've seen that firsthand. That's not right. That's a form of bullying. It's a form of bullying.
True.
We just want it to stop. We're residents of this town, and we deserve better.
I'd like to interject something here. if it's
Sure,
okay.
go ahead.
I think it's time that everybody stops and thinks of what is happening and what they are doing. I think what we need to do is not only walk in somebody else's shoes, but try walking in their feet for a while before you judge what somebody else is doing. Be a little bit patient. Go ahead.
I think you can work with the new director up there as long as you keep going and see her. If things are happening up at the senior center, it's got to get back to the director. And go to the director and discuss it with her in a meeting and see if you can iron these things out. This board is not here to straighten out those two things because we can't. We're worried about the housing when we're here. When you're at the senior center, if you volunteer or anything like that, you can do it with that, or you talk to the director. Our main focus is our two directors working together to get the housing and the senior centers together. Not coming to the board and discuss it the way it has been today.
Well,
I would love to see you just go back up there and give it another shot and say, listen, I did it again, it didn't work out, or it did work out. We want it to work for both sides. If there's a way to deal with the buses and stuff like that, find a way. That's all I'm asking. Let's try to, like you just said, you know, walk in somebody else's shoes. Let's try to get this to
Well,
work.
their feet, not just the
Your,
shoes.
well, your feet too. But,
It's harder to walk in
We
feet.
have to address the bullying.
Yes. and-
oh, I understand that. I just seen it.
Wayne,
We have to address it. It's
Oh,
not,
no, I have.
it's not right.
okay.
I mean, I have a Stoneville resident that volunteers at the senior center. She was the one that was threatened. And we're sitting there saying, we didn't just hear what we heard. She said it 3 times.
You know one thing, Laurie, and I give you total respect for, is when you make an issue or say anything, you do not use people's names. You do not. We cannot do that.
And I think she was right in coming to the board, and I think you are right in coming to the board, because it affects all of our residents.
That's right.
This is a resident problem. If this is happening to residents, no matter where they go in town, if they live in our properties, it still belongs, part of it belongs to, not all of it, because they can go to the police department and they can come to Lori. But I think this is an appropriate place for this to be brought, because it is a problem and it is
That's right.
outright bullying. Body language. I see that on the board all the time. People rolling their eyes, people making comments that have no business being made in a business meeting. We have to treat each other with respect. I mean, just a minute, Ray.
Yeah, sure.
I think you have to respect everybody's opinion and stop and think before you make remarks. And rudeness doesn't belong on this board. And it's happened on this board more than once. And we've talked about it before, so we do need to think about it. Yes.
You need to think about it more, but then everybody has their own opinion, whether you agree or you
That's
disagree.
right.
And that's going to happen, as far as policies and everything go. But what I'm trying to say, I have no problem with having this policy at all. I think it was a good job done on the policy. It's just the way it was handled today. Could have been handled in another manner. We can't be using people's names that secondhand voices are telling them. That's not right.
No, it isn't right for second.
Absolutely.
But if you hear something yourself.
That's the only thing
If you hear something yourself,
Face to
said
face.
to you,
Right.
or you overhear somebody saying it about you, it needs to come before the board.
But you know what, wait,
That
in
one.
all honesty, we really didn't know how to approach this. We needed to have a conversation about it, and we may have not gone about it the right way, because it's very,
Get off my foot. They're on my foot.
it's very uncomfortable, but it's been very unsettling. And I don't like getting sandbagged. I don't feel that I deserve it. And it's been happening, and it doesn't happen with you. You have something, you can pick up the phone, whatever, but it's gotta stop. People are getting hurt for no reason. My residents don't wanna go to different things. That's a waste of money. I mean, we duplicate efforts here. We have events that the senior center has, and we're duplicating them here because these people won't go there. I mean, that's a problem.
I agree, but that's a problem with you and the director to deal with.
Well, that's,
And start there.
and that's the thing, but I still have to tell my board, oh, by the way, we have a problem.
That's
Yeah.
right. We're paying
That's
for
it.
it.
I don't,
And as
see,
taxpayers,
everybody's, you're
we
just not
deserve
getting what
better.
I'm,
No, we do
Sure.
understand what you're saying.
I mean, I know there's ways you gotta do it, either works, it does, if it don't, then you bring it up and you bring it to the board. That's fine. It's just the way it was handled today.
But there have been board members that have gone to trainings where questions have been asked, and it's always the tone of the question. And I've sat in that room and I heard the questions, it's always like looking for, what are we doing wrong? And, oh, I don't want to make any mistakes. And the assumption is that the rest of us do. Nobody on this board wants to make a mistake,
But we always do.
but we all,
But we're all volunteers. We're not getting paid. Laurie gets paid, but the rest of us, well, you do. You get a stipend because she's with the federal side that allows a stipend. Alice doesn't get one because she's state.
But I mean, it's like there's ways to do things and am I perfect? Absolutely not. I mean, I'm still learning this job. I've been doing it for 7 years and I'm still finding things that I can do better. You know, they have workshops on dealing with difficult people. Well, as people age, people become difficult. The young people that we have living in housing are difficult. They're at different, everybody's at a different phase in their life, and it's hard to deal with people. I mean, we try, we do the best that we can. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. And I'll be the last one to say that I am. And if I didn't try, it would be one thing, but I do.
I'm in my 3rd term on this board and I learn something new all the time. And things change and you have to adjust with the change.
And you get a lot of criticism because of the number of boards that you were on. But in reality, by being on all those boards, you bring knowledge to any board that you sit on, because you have something to refer back to. Like if we had a question about the school committee, you can answer it because you're on it. The school buildings committee, you're on it. You know what I mean? You've been on the zoning board. I mean, so were you out there? Yes. Council on Aging was a big one for us. Was a big one because it was a way to interface with that agency. I mean, just being on the highway department was a big thing. Because how many times have I asked you questions about that? But I think people need to be respectful in their approach to things.
And I understand that.
And maybe this didn't go the way that, it didn't go the way I planned it, but I really feel that things that were said need to be said because people need to stop to think about how they're being perceived. Ann was a former employee. She was laid off by the Housing Authority. Maybe people know that, maybe they don't. The year she got laid off, she was not the only employee that was laid off. But by coming on the board, she put herself in a position not to be rehired. Because you can't be a board member and be an employee. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. But I had people come up to me and say that she was fired from the housing authority and she's gonna lose her house. That was not true. She was not fired. She was laid off along with other people. Because of that particular year, we needed the money for maintenance. That was federalization, and that's where the money went. Did I mismanage the budget? No, I did not, but I heard that I did. I managed the budget. And was it easy to lay people off? No, it was not. But have I rehired laid off workers? Absolutely. At least 3 of the people that were laid off at the same time, same year she was, were rehired. But it's like, you can explain things to people, and they don't necessarily understand it, and they can judge your actions, but I feel like everything is retaliatory. You know, the comments that she makes, I don't feel that she gives me an opportunity most times to even answer her. She waits until she gets in front of the camera, and then it's like, boom, I got her now. And that's just the way I feel. And I'm sorry she left the room, because it would have been better.
I know, I was gonna ask if
Yeah.
you wouldn't talk behind her back and not talk
Wait,
about, not
wait.
using her name.
She made a choice to leave the room, and she
Yeah,
should
but
have
still,
stayed.
this-
She should have stayed. She had a right to her opinion too. And I just don't want any more of it, so
Well-
we said what we had to say, and I'm glad you came back in.
Yes.
I don't want any more screaming and yelling, I will say that. And I will begin with my comments. But I
There
have a
wasn't
couple-
any screaming.
There certainly was. I have a couple of things I'd like to say. First of all, I don't appreciate you just reciting my history on TV in front of everyone. I don't like it. And as far as the staff goes, do I have an issue with you hiring a position that we've never had before, that we should have had approved by a board? Absolutely. And did I ask for a goal last year for you to develop a relationship with the town government? Yes, you, not for you to hire a person to do it for you. That's my issue. I know I did not say anything about her getting paid or not paid. My issue is the fact that that was your goal, not for you to hire someone to do it for you. That's the issue I have. And as far, do I have the floor?
Yes.
And as far as your issue with me being retaliatory, you have no idea what I hold inside as far as our issues here. I'm concerned about doing things in public. I don't think it's right to call you up and find out what about this, what about that. We're supposed to be a public board. I'm only one person. Is it appropriate for me to go and say, well, what about this and what about that? And is this okay, is that okay? I have a problem with that. It's supposed to be done in a public fashion. And the things I bring up, you may disagree with. But I don't agree with you. Respectfully, I don't agree with you. And I want to tell you something else too. Respect is a two-way street. And you have to earn respect as well as to get respect. And do I have a problem with you? Absolutely. You do not run a good meeting, Madam Chairman, with all due respect. And you do not allow the residents to speak. When they want to say something, it's public comment. You don't allow them to speak. You control us like we're the dogs in the field. It's 3:30, we're going to start the meeting now. Madam, you can't treat people like that.
It is up to the chairman to set the minutes, to set the topics on the agenda, and it's up to the chairman to run the meeting on time, which I do. If you have a problem with that, that's your problem, not mine.
And I understand that. And we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
I think we always have it.
You know, I have issues. I want to make sure that we're not doing something wrong. When somebody tells me
That's a
that
big
we're not
problem.
supposed to do this, this, and this, I have to ask in public, should I be sitting there and doing it behind closed doors?
No, but it appears.
Am I just supposed to keep my mouth shut and say nothing?
It appears that you're looking for us to do something wrong, and we have not done anything wrong. I've been on this board now, this is my 3rd term, and we have never knowingly done anything wrong.
But I feel as though I'm not allowed to bring up any issue that's contrary to what you all think. I'm not allowed to say anything, I'm not allowed to have an opinion. I'm just supposed to go along to get along. That's the way you all make me feel.
Joyce?
I think you bring a lot of things to the table, but you kind of push the envelope. We listen to what you got to say, we can agree or disagree. And you talk a lot, you have a lot to say, so don't say you don't let you speak your piece, because that's not true.
I'm just saying, I feel as though I'm not allowed to have an opinion. You make me feel like I'm just supposed to be quiet and be submissive and do whatever you tell me to do.
No, that is not
That's the way you
point.
make me feel.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but one person gets to speak at a time. We all have one vote on this board, and you're entitled to your opinion. And your opinion, we do listen to your opinion. One thing I would like to tell you is when you brought up about having this subcommittee that we're having to find new housing, you said that you and Wayne wanted to do this. Well, you know, you're not supposed to be talking to any board member outside of the board on something that we're supposed to vote on, and we voted on that. So you should not have been talking about it outside the
You're not
meeting.
supposed to talk to a forum.
Quorum.
You're not
She's
supposed
only
to
a
talk
person.
to.
We had a
On
conversation.
anything that you're gonna have a vote on, you are not, if you look back in you just finished your classes. If you look back on that, and you remember what Attorney Driscoll said, is you are not supposed to speak to another board member about anything you're gonna vote on. You can meet in public, you can go to coffee, you can do anything, as long as it's not a quorum, but if you can't discuss anything you're gonna vote on. Yes.
I just want to say, my understanding is you can have a conversation. I wasn't aware there was going to be a vote for a subcommittee. You all had told me when I first got elected that you didn't care if I looked into other housing. You people weren't interested. There was no money, money was a problem, I understand that. But you told me that you didn't care if I talked to the congressman or to the senator member. So I had a conversation with him.
But you can't, he's not the congressman or a senator. He's a
But
member
I
of the
didn't
board.
know that you were going to vote to create a formal subcommittee, Madam Chairman. And he's just one person, he's one member. I didn't talk to three people.
That's right, but you're not supposed to, you're supposed to recuse yourself from voting on that article.
Well, I
didn't
didn't-
start discussing it outside of the meeting, because if you have to go to court or something, you're not going to be able to defend yourself on that. Yes.
I didn't expect this meeting to be an attack on me. I never
It's not
expected.
an attack
I
on
heard
you.
Miss Brennan talk about being blindsided. Well, you certainly did a good job today. You know, and I think.
I didn't know anything.
Madam, please finish.
Yes.
I would like to ask that we continue with the agenda. And I just won't offer any opinions on anything. If I don't agree, I'll just sit there and say I'm offended. But I would please ask you to please continue with the meeting.
And that is not your job to not vote on anything or not have any opinion. You're here as a member of this board, and as a member of this board, you are entitled to your opinion, and we appreciate what you do say. But we're not going to run the meeting just the way you want it to be run. It's going to be run in a proper manner. Yes.
I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm out to help the housing in any way I possibly can. And I'm not going to be criticized about talking or asked if I would help to help get housing in town, because I've been asked by many people other than Ann Weston. And there is no quorum, there was no vote, and you're telling me I can't do something by law, I can do.
No.
I
I'm
want
saying
you to
can't
vote.
If you look
I'm
at
sorry, I just-
your material that you got.
I got material, I know what it is and what it isn't. And I'm not gonna be stifled by the chairman either. I'm not gonna be treated as, how would you say it,
I think,
unfairly. I'll put it that way.
I think,
I think this meeting's got out of hand.
I think so too.
I would like to
think
postpone it and take this up at the next meeting.
Could we just adjourn the meeting today
Yeah.
and have?
I think it would
everyone
be
next
best
week?
interest in the whole community.
I'd like to offer a motion to adjourn and reconvene next week.
A motion has been made to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. I would like to continue the meeting. Does anybody else want to continue the meeting?
If there was a motion, I
They made a motion and seconded. We're voting whether we want to continue this meeting or close it. The motion is made and seconded to close the meeting now. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we'll continue the meeting. The director's, executive director's evaluation process. We were given the forms to look at to see if we wanted to make any changes to the form first before we use this as our evaluation form. Does anybody want any changes on this form?
I
Alice.
didn't get to it this week,
Okay.
so I would have to say that I haven't done the work of doing that. So, yes.
Does anybody else have anything on there? I have a few questions that I wanted to ask the board on a couple of things. Number 5. Guides revenue generating activities in order to provide adequate income to the authority. We don't actually generate any revenue, so I would like to eliminate that number. Does anybody have any feelings on that?
Well, if you look at the last evaluation that was done, we ended up taking, that question was taken out.
All right. So, do you want to take it out permanently? Anybody? The next one was that I had was number 6, creates innovative partnerships with business or other institutions that contribute to the authority's resources. We don't have anybody that gives us resources. We do get grants. We got grants for refrigerators and what else do we get? Lighting, Lori? But we don't generate any resources. Money is not given to the housing authority. So I'd like to take that out. And then I had one more that I just had a question on. And that is on the second page, number 6. It selects and cultivates qualified, talented senior staff and builds morale throughout the organization. Do we actually have senior staff, or would that be just staff?
Just,
Okay, I'd like to take the word senior out of there. Does anybody have any objection to that? Okay, I think that's all that I had. Does anybody else have anything else on there that they want to discuss? Other questions? We also should come up with what the performance plan. It says the performance plan should focus on 6 or 8 significant goals planned for the year. I don't think we should say a specific number because it may be that we only have 2 or 3 things that we really want to work on rather than 6 or 8. How do you feel about that, Lori?
I think it's going to depend on the year and what they actually are as to how many
Right.
that are doable. Like working to get additional housing, that's a big goal.
Right.
That's a big goal that would take up a lot of time. I mean, my goal is to run the housing authority.
Right.
That's my goal, to keep our apartments rented and to keep our inspections high. That's my job, to make sure people are paying their rent. So to have a specific number, do I need goals? Absolutely.
Right.
I don't know that we need a specific number, but we need to set goals each year.
Would everybody like to come back at the next meeting with goals that you would like to see done? You know, and then if there's too many, we can, and you need to bring your goals too, Lori. and then we could just narrow it down a little bit, because I would like to get this finished by at least the form before we have to set up our budget and to make sure that it's in place, her review is in place before the end of the year. Is
And
that
you'll need to evaluate me on the goals from last year.
right? And you all have what the goals were from last year, right? That's in here, isn't it, Lori?
I'll send them to you.
Okay, could do that, I appreciate that. All right, any more discussion on that? And do you have anything to add?
Nothing.
The executive director's report, please.
I included today, you have a credit card policy that I wrote that I'd like you to, it's just a draft, so I would like you to evaluate it, and at the next meeting, we'll discuss it. At the next, at the next meeting, we'll discuss it, and then you, if any changes you want to make, then you let me know. I did a fraud policy, same thing. I'd actually put out guidelines through the Office of the Inspector General. I tried to follow the guidelines when writing the policy, but if you read it and there's any changes that you want to make, then you let me know. And that'll be on the agenda for the next meeting. And the same thing with the bullying policy. I wrote a policy. I tried to come up with as much information as I could. Is it what you want? I'm not sure, but it's just a draft. So if you just read it and let us know at the next meeting. As far as vacancies, we have 1 unit vacant at Packagug Village. And that was due to a transfer from the 2nd floor down to a 1st floor. And as soon as that resident vacates, then we'll go in and that unit will go to somebody on the waiting list. Pembroke Court has a vacancy, family moved out, it's a 2-bedroom, and that vacancy will go to somebody on the waiting list. Maintenance has been busy. The exterior storm doors down at Pheasant Court have been replaced. That was grant money. They had units that they turned over. We had a big rash last month of units. Now we've caught up. So they've been busy. We hired somebody to replace the countertops at Stoneville. The ones that are really bad are going to be replaced. And then we're going to be doing medicine cabinets at Stoneville. So that's on the list for that. Packagug, we still have windows and replacing trim boards at Packagug. Pheasant Court needs to be sided. And Auburn Heights, we've gone out for bids for roofs. So we've got a lot going on. We seal coated the sidewalks here. We're looking for someone to do the sidewalks and the parking lot in the back of Packagug. The sidewalks will be seal cracked at Packagug to try to eliminate the trip hazards. So we still have a lot of work items to go, but in the cameras, we're still getting quotes on cameras. But we've been getting things done. We had an appreciation for the police department, fire department on 9/11. All 3 shifts were acknowledged, police and fire. And then on the 19th, we had an appreciation luncheon for the highway department to thank them for all that they do for us. They are a big help. And they're just extra hands. And we had to show our appreciation for the highway department. And we've been busy. We still have things. My next policy is we need to establish a policy on recyclables. I bought blue buckets for light bulbs and batteries, but I have to write the policy to go with it. And the buckets will be placed with like a picture of a light bulb, pictures of batteries in the laundry rooms. And then once we collect enough of them, then we can take them to the Board of Health to ask for information on how to dispose of the stuff properly. But the buckets will be put in the laundry rooms to cover that. We still have to number the buildings, put numbers on. Some of the buildings are hard to read the numbers when people come to visit, so we want to put numbers front and back on the building, so it's easier, even for police and fire, when they come to visit the property. It's hard to figure out where the buildings are and how the numbers go. So we need to find a way to make that clearer. I've been in touch with the state on energy. And they, we had Rise Engineering come out and they did an audit of the properties for lighting. Now they're gonna come back and they're gonna check the attics for insulation, check the doors for insulation, and we're gonna look at the refrigerators. In 2009, we had refrigerators provided to us. Now we're gonna go back and look, because if it's 10 years and older, then it's eligible for replacement by them. So we have to go back and look at the age of the refrigerators, some of which we've replaced. They did a lot in 2009, but if there's any that are over 10 years old, haven't been replaced, we want to put them on a list so that they can help us as far as giving us refrigerators. So I'm working with DHCD in the energy department on that. And I've been putting in for reimbursement on our capital fund grants because we were able to get reimbursed for most of the work that we've done to date. And that money just goes back into our reserves.
That's great.
So
That's good.
that's where we're at.
And you know, we have 5 facilities that we're responsible for, so that really means a lot of savings, and Maureen's really done a good job of these grants. Is there anything else in your report, Maureen? So, member items, does any member have an item they want to bring up? Alice, did you have something?
I had something I wanted to bring up, and it's kind of been covered in a way, and that was the way that what was brought up a bit earlier about one thing is that I'm a little confused about it now and how to say it. But there is a conversation going on out and about that is detrimental to the housing. And I hear about it, but I don't say anything about it to anybody because it is to be brought here before the board. Some of it has been brought here before the board today. And about the bullying process, I believe it is bullying when somebody walks into the senior center and somebody says, "Here comes trouble." And that was taken care of. And also calling people names. There is someone at the senior center that calls particular volunteer there. It doesn't really fight back, and she's called by another volunteer. She's always called a bitch.
Is this one of our residents that's doing this?
It is one of our residents that's on the receiving end, but the person that does it is not a resident, thank goodness. And so speaking about bullying is a very, very special thing that we need to do. Because there are people that walk up to you. One walked up to me last week. As most of you know, I had a fall and my face got quite discolored. And I was asked by one of the residents, "Oh, did you get drunk and fall down like usual?" And my answer was, "No, I don't do as you do." And that stopped the person. They just looked and were startled that I would answer them back in such a manner. And they walked away and didn't say anymore. But that bullying is going on. And that people, you go in there, if I see, I don't go over there a lot, but when I go over there, if I see people that I haven't seen before, I will say, "Can I sit with you?" And just twice in the last couple of months, I've been told, "Oh no, these seats are reserved," and there's only one or two people at that table. But I think Mignon is beginning to handle that.
Well, we really don't have any control of the senior center.
No.
But if we can plant the seed for people to stop bullying, that's really very, very good. And I think, just a minute, please.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. And I think if we can start it today, then it would be very helpful if we just kind of consider each other and try to, probably the people on here aren't the people that are involved, but, if people would just understand. And this bullying is not only happening here, it's happening all over the town with all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Not only here in Worcester and Paxton, I don't care where you go, it's the whole country. People are forgetting to be kind to each other. Yes, ma'am.
One thing I'd like to say, Alice, is the last thing you said that Mignon is working on it, and that's the biggest step. As long as you have them or whoever report it to Mignon and let her take care of it, and if she doesn't, then we'll have to bring it up elsewhere, but I think, as you just said, it seems like she is doing things, so that's a good thing.
She's sad.
Is there anything else, any other member thing that you want to bring up? Okay. Now we're back onto public comment. Does anyone have anything in the audience that they would like to say about anything that happened at the meeting today? You can talk on any subject. Yes.
I just
Just
wanna,
give your name, please.
Pauline Dubuck. I just want to ask Lori, in the bulbs, do you have to wrap them up, put them in the box?
I don't think it.
Because I got one and I put some tissues or whatever they are, and then I put it underneath the water and it dried good. So in case, and I still got it, I don't know, I'm glad you spoke about it today.
Okay, so tomorrow we'll put the buckets in the laundry room,
Yeah.
and then if people just place the bulbs in so that they don't get broken, obviously.
In what?
In the little blue tubs.
In a big bucket?
No.
No, a
There's,
separate one.
It's gonna be a separate blue bucket,
Yeah,
and there'll be a light bulb on it.
okay, good.
Because we want to collect the light bulbs and we want to collect the batteries and dispose of
Oh,
them
the batteries, yeah,
properly.
yeah,
They shouldn't be going out in the regular trash.
yeah.
So we're going to start a recycle program with light bulbs and batteries. They'll be in buckets in the laundry rooms, so if the residents or your home health care people can just take them and put them in there, then we'll dispose of them.
Okay, thank you.
And I know that the curlicue bulbs have a gas in them that you're not, if they break, you're even supposed to sweep that up and put it into a glass container and be very careful when you do it, because there is a gas that emits from those that is poisonous. So you really need to be very careful with that. And you can wrap those. I always wrap mine. I just wrap it in a paper towel or something and put it in a separate container to go out for recycling. But the best place to take those is probably to the Board of Health. Time? Did you want-
Some of the light bulbs have mercury in them, which is the most dangerous chemical, they say, on planet Earth. So you want to be careful that you don't break them, because they say actually you should call a hazmat team to clean up if you break them. Although people aren't doing it.
No, they did show on TV how to clean it up,
Yeah.
but for me to go into it in detail, I can't do that because I'm not that expert, but
Me either.
they do need to be cleaned up very carefully if they break.
Well, maybe I'll get some bubble wrap and put like a roll of bubble wrap near the recycle container. So that if you don't have anything to wrap it in, you can wrap it in the bubble wrap and stick it in the bucket.
Can cut it into small
Okay.
pieces.
Yeah.
They come in like little small sheets if you get them.
Did anybody else have anything they wanted to say? Yes, Denise.
I just wanted to remind the residents and people that are watching that the flu clinic will be held on Thursday, starting at 9 o'clock at the Auburn Senior Center for residents that are 65 and over.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything they want to say about what was discussed in this meeting? If not, then I'll take a motion to adjourn. Oh, before we do that, we need to set our next meeting date, which is the first Tuesday in November would be the 4th, and I think we did discuss this at the last meeting, but I want to make sure that's still all right for everybody. It's election day. Is that election day? November is the 7th. It's the 4th. At 3:30. Okay. Now, we have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. We have adjourned.